Welcome to today's webinar, How to Collect and Manage Revenue Quality, Channel POS, Inventory and Claims Data on Time to Drive Revenue and Improve Profitability by Accurate Solutions. Before we get started, I would like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box or chat box that you have on the top. We will bring them up during the presentation, and we will also have a time for question and answer sessions at the end. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent to you following the presentation for your own purpose or to share with your colleagues. Now, I would like to introduce today's presenters. We have Ashish Saxena. He is Vice President Solutions at Accurate Solution. So I will request Ashish to share a brief introduction about his experience and expertise. Ashish.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time zone you are in. I am Ashish Saxena, and I'm responsible for global project delivery at Accurate. I've been doing, projects in the area of Salesforce and SAP for the last 25 plus years in the area of order to cash, lead to opportunity, channel sales, as well as sales incentives and sales commissions. In the past, I worked with KPMG and Bearing Point for about 10 years, and I have done multiple global projects as a program manager and a project manager. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashish. And we have Suresh Kumar. He is Vice President Product at Accurate. I will request Suresh to share a brief introduction about his expertise and experience. Suresh.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Assuming for people in the West Coast of US. My name is Suresh Kumar. I'm Vice President Products for Accurate Solutions. For the last 10 plus years, I've been delivering, solutions in revenue management space, primarily, like applications like channel data management, sales commissions, rebates, and incentives, royalty management, etc. So hopefully we'll cover more on the channel data management in the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Suresh. So for today's agenda, primarily, we will talk about the challenges that companies face in channel data management and how they can overcome that. And we will also give a brief overview about Accurate Incent for solution around channel data management. So now I will hand over to Ashish to start today's presentation with the brief overview of Accurate Solution.
Thanks, Ajay. So a quick overview. Accurate was founded in 2008 for basically for consultants who were working at KPMG, Bearing Point, and Pricewaterhouse. We have been focused on delivering SAP consulting services as well as Salesforce, CRM services. In the last couple of years, we have developed some products, which include, channel data management, which Suresh is going to talk about, sales commissions, which you're familiar with, incentives or rebate management, as well as royalty management. These solutions integrate with ERPs like SAP or Oracle or Microsoft. In addition, we focus on specific verticals like, heavy equipment or, manufacturing, high-tech consumer goods, etc. So now I'm going to hand it over to Suresh to talk about channel data management, which is the core reason for this webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashish. Good morning again. So let's just kind of talk about what is actually channel data management. So if you look at manufacturing companies, the way they scale their sales is by selling through channels. So your channel consists of, distributors, dealers, resellers, retailers, value-added resellers. So depending upon the business, all these different types of channel partners can play a role in your sales process. Now, the biggest challenge when you sell through these channel partners is, when you ship your product, you know what is shipped into the channel. That's not really revenue. So revenue is when your channel partners actually eventually sells the products to the end customers. And so that's a big problem because companies really want to know, what products are selling where, who the customers are, what's the vertical. So that information doesn't exist when you ship into the channel. Okay, so that's where it's important that manufacturing companies are able to collect the data from their channel partners, whether it's from distributors, resellers, dealers, etc., and convert that into revenue quality data that you can, use for all the downstream revenue management applications. So so you have, I categorize the applications like sales commissions, incentives and rebates, royalties, your finance management systems. These are all your standard revenue management applications in an enterprise. So to get the right data there is where the channel data management comes into picture. Now, if you look at conceptually, what are the steps in the channel data management process? So you're collecting data from hundreds or thousands of your channel partners, distributors, and resellers. So it's usually point of sales, POS, and inventory claims. So the first step is to ingest the data because the partner is going to send data in their own formats. It could be comma separated values or CSV, Excel, EDI. They might use their different delivery mechanisms. They could send it by email or it could be an FTP site or HTTP. So first step is to ingest the data. The second step is to take all this data, which is in different formats, and transform it into some kind of canonical form, where you normalize the data, do some validation. For example, if your point of sales has currency, it might have dates, in different formats. You need to convert that into some normalized format. And that step is the transformation process. The third stage is conceptually is what's called the matching and the enriching stage. And this is where, for example, if you have a point of sales data, which is your channel partner sales data, you have, for example, bill to customers, you have ship to customers, you have products all on the record, and you have to match that bill to and the ship to customer against your customer master, because those that's reported in the point of sales is with respect to your channel partners information system. So that stage is called matching, and then once it's matched to your customer master, then or your product master, you enrich the data with additional information that's required for downstream processing, like regions and territories for sales commission calculations, for example. So once you enrich the data, then the last step is usually you want to value the transaction. The partners do usually report the pricing information in the transaction. You may not want to trust that. You might want to do an independent calculation, using your price book or a FIFO of invoices. Now, the general trend in the industry is, companies have implemented, this conceptual four stage using either custom applications, or they feed this data into some kind of database and manipulate data there, or just use plain old spreadsheets with people manipulating spreadsheets. So you'll see various types of solutions out there for this process. So if you look at a multi-tier channel, for manufacturers selling through channels, it is the major revenue driver. That's the only way you can scale your revenue stream, as opposed to using your direct sales force. And you will see that depending upon the business, there is a varying degree of complexity with your channel. The hierarchy in the channel. For example, You have companies that sell through a dealer, and the dealer sells to the end customer. This is very common in selling vehicles. Or you can have companies selling directly to a retailer, like Office Depot or Home Depot, and then the retailer selling it to end customer. Another scenario is you have I can add one more tier. A company sells through large distributors, then the distributor sells to resellers, and the resellers sell to end customers. So your CDM system or your channel data management system should be able to deal with all these different types of complexity. Another attribute of your channel is, your channel partner is not only selling your product, they're also selling your competitive products. So you have to have a ways of incentivizing your channel partner to sell your products, and that is a major challenge. Now, so let's look at all the challenges of implementing a channel data management solution to collect and process your data. The ultimate goal is to generate revenue quality data for all your downstream revenue management processes. So I look at based on my lot of experience, I think there's a top 5 challenges. There's plus more, but the number one challenge is your partners sending data in their own formats, varying formats, and they use their own delivery methods. And so if you're dealing with hundreds and thousands of partners, that's a huge variation in the data formats. Even if it's CSV or Excel or EDI, within that file itself, you're going to have the field names may be different. They might use different types of fields. So that's a big challenge. The second challenge is, a lot of times the processes are very manual. Companies use spreadsheets or they use custom solutions, and all this introduces risks of human error. And and of course, with that comes the lack of confidence in data. So think about trying to use this data to pay commissions to the sales team. If you don't have confidence in the data, how are they going to trust what they're getting paid? So a manual process is a big challenge for companies implementing CDM. The third big challenge is, can the application deliver the revenue quality data on time? Reduce the processing duration. Think about a scenario where the sales team needs to run reports on your last week's sales, and they need to run the reports on Monday, and all the channel data can come in on Friday. So you got Friday night, the data comes in, or Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and and the company has to produce revenue quality data by Monday morning for the sales team. So long timelines, whether it's due to how the data is getting ingested into the CDM system, or the calculations that you perform, or the adjustments that you make, they all add to the delivery time. So that's a big challenge. And more importantly, another big challenge is you have usually incomplete and inconsistent information in the point of sales or inventory data that you get from the channel partners. For example, the customer name and address, like in the POs you have built to and ship to, so that can be based on channel partners information system, right? Another example is your product names. If you're a large distributor, in the point of sales data, they might use their own naming convention for describing what the products are. Another inconsistency is the price and the resale price in the transaction, and they may not be accurate. So these, the CDM system has to be able to manage all this. The fact that you have to match your customers to your master data or your reference data, products to your reference data, etc. And on top of it is, another big challenge is you have to have complete visibility into the channel, because all the information that you have from your information system is just the invoices. That doesn't say where how fast are these products selling, who the customers are, and what territory these products are going into, and what's the market segments. So sales velocity is a key challenge. Another challenge is inventory turns. Can you foresee the stockouts? You don't want the channel to run out of inventory. You want to look at what are slow moving parts and fast moving products so that you can come up with maybe different types of incentive programs to change that. Another key challenge is how do you measure the partner performance? This is very important because if you have a large number of partners, you really want to know, which partners are performing well and which partners are performing poorly, and you might want to pay special attention to the poor performing partners. It may not be their problem. It may be they're not getting incentivized properly. So it's important to know how the partners are performing with respect to the objectives that you have set up. So those are the top 5, but it doesn't stop right there. You have additional challenges like, does my channel data management solution scalable? Does it grow with my business? Does, if I add more partners, as I add more transaction, is the system scalable? Another challenge is, does it integrate well with your ERP and the CRM system? Because that's where most of the process, the financial processes are running. Your CRM is your customer relationship management system, so it needs to integrate well with these applications. Another challenge is, how expensive is to keep configuring this application year after year if my process changes. So expensive customization is a big challenge to companies. Transparency is a big factor, especially, if you're selling through channels and you have channel partners participating in, let's say, a rebates program or incentive programs. You want to earn that trust. You want to make sure that, your calculations for, calculating incentives or rebates, that you can share with them so that they have confidence in the calculations and the payment. So you need to give them complete visibility into their data so that, there's no disputes in terms of what they're getting paid. And accurate valuation of POS and inventory. This is the most important piece because this data is going to be used for all the downstream revenue management processes. And then most importantly, does the application generate data that's compliant with the new revenue recognition standards like ASC 606 and IFRS 15. So these are, if we sum it up, these are all the big challenges that as channel data management process encounters in the system. So if I have to summarize this, what you really need your CDM system or your channel data management system is to produce decision grade data, for all your downstream revenue management applications. These are some of them, like, your incentive and rebate calculations, you need revenue quality data, sales commissions, royalty management, and of course, for revenue recognition, you want to make sure that your revenue numbers are calculated accurately. So it's not only for revenue management processes, but it also has a big impact on your supply chain decisions, because your channel is like a demand signal, so that figures into your supply chain decisions. So the decision grade data is very important there as well. So now, looking at all these challenges, what are the solution requirements for a channel data management system? The first thing is, use as much technology as you can to automate the processing. Remove all the manual steps from your process. Reduce the processing time, and you can accomplish this all using, pretty much using technology. And a second requirement is, do not dictate your partners to send data in any particular format because they're going to make mistakes. You want to be able to collect the data in any format. The partners can send it in CSV or Excel, doesn't matter. The system should be able to capture that data and process them, and use standard delivery methods like email, SFTP, HTTP, EDI, whatever makes sense. And another requirement is, the system has to be able to map and transform this data in various formats into a standard format. Okay, convert this into a standard format so that you can load that into some kind of database for processing. And then matching customers and products to master data. This is a big piece because the build to and the ship to are in the the channel partners, how it's represented in the channel partner systems, and you want to match that to the the company's information system. So here is some examples of how you can do matching. For example, let's say your build to and ship to address on the point of sales has 5 fields: your name, the name of the company, the phone, street, state, and country. Now you have to look at those 5 fields and try to match that against your customer master, right? So conceptually there are 2 types of matching you can do. One I'm calling it a learned match. That's where you match the build to and the ship to and the POS against known values. So here is an example. You can say the name begins with Acme Paint and the phone number equals 206-455-4500, and the street contains 785 Brixdale. Then it matches customer 54862. So here you're using known values in your matching matching rule. Another way to do the matching, what I call unlearned matches, is you match your POS against your customer master. So you look at the name field and try to match against the name of the entry in your customer master. And you do the same thing with phone. You do same thing with street. And this kind of matching, you can either use fuzzy logic, or you can use any regular rules like equals and begins with, and that again can result in matching to the same customer, which is customer-54862. So this is just an example of how you do matching. And so once you have matched your the reported customers in your point of sales to your reference data, the next step is to enrich the channel data. So you can take your product, add all the attributes of the product to the channel data. So sales by product family, sales by product type, etc. So the product hierarchy vary from company to company, but doesn't matter. But that's one of the requirements, that we can add that enrichment to the point of sales. Enrich your POS data with customer attributes like territory, region, market segment, etc. So in addition, you can add whatever other attributes that are needed for all the downstream applications. So this is what I call the data enrichment stage. That's a requirement. And once you have matched and enriched your transaction, you can value the transactions instead of using what is reported on your point of sales. Okay. Now transactions can be valued. When I say transactions is point of sales or POS data or inventory, you can either use price book. That's one mechanism. Or you can use FIFO of invoices, which is a little more complicated way to do the valuation. But either way, the system should be able to value the transaction instead of just using the reported values. And another requirement is the system should be able to calculate the period ending inventory. This is important because your channel partners, your distributors or resellers, or they may not report the inventory on the last day of the month. For example, they might report the last inventory report for a month, maybe 20th of the month. But systems dealing with inventory valuation, etc., needs to know what is my month-end inventory. So there's a technique called sales in, sales out analysis. We can use that to determine what the actual inventory is at the end of the period. Okay, so that is another requirement. And then it should be a self-serve solution. You don't want a lot of human bodies actually managing your application. It should be just managed by exceptions. Unless there is an exception, there should not be a need for a human being to sit and manage the application. So the data should be automatically processed and available, and the exceptions should be shown. So if it's a data steward, somebody like a data steward who's managing the data should be able to go to one place and resolve those exceptions just pretty quickly. Okay, and then the data availability at speed. This is where data should smoothly flow into your channel data management system and get processed in real time, and it just shows up wherever you need it without if there are no exceptions. Of course, if there are exceptions, you have to dig in and resolve them. Okay, so being able to process your channel data in almost a real time as it comes in is a requirement. And another requirement is, of course, the partner scorecard. You should be able to, looking at the channel data, you should be able to measure how your partner is performing. Are they meeting the revenue goals? Are they maintaining an optimal inventory level at the partner? Are they reporting their point of sales and inventory data on time as part of their obligation, or is the data quality good enough? So you can use various metrics to assign a score to them, and you can use that to manage your partner better. So those are some of the requirements. So what we have done is we have addressed all those challenges and created a channel data management solution. It's one of the revenue management solutions we have. The first one being channel data management. That's the one that we're going to talk about today. Accrete also has an incentive management solution to manage very complex incentives, whether it's rebates, special pricing agreement, ship and debit, or MDF, which is market development fund, co-op funds, etc., or even price protection and stock rotation, which are inventory-based programs. We also have a sales commission application that runs on Salesforce, and deal and design registration commission split. This is where you can track, register your deal and design opportunities, and then manage commission splits for those opportunities. And another revenue management application that we ship is the royalty management that can be used to manage rights and licenses. So I'm going to briefly talk about the solution that we have for the channel data management. And this is again, one of the slides I put on early on, but what you see in the light green block is the channel data management application. Okay, so again, your channel partners, distributors, resellers, etc., are sending data in their own format, either through EDI, SFTP, or email, whatever the delivery mechanisms are. That data comes into the CDM application. And the CDM application has three main components. The first component is a processing pipeline. So this is kind of like the conceptual pipeline that I explained very early on in the presentation. So what happens in the processing pipeline is the data comes in, it gets cleansed, then it gets mapped into a standard format and gets normalized, and the pipeline does a bunch of validation, like making sure that the date formats are okay, the currency formats. So it does a bunch of validation. Then it enriches the data, with the region and the territory information, matches the bill to and the ship to against your customer master. And then at the last part of the pipeline is it does a valuation of the POS and inventory using either price book or FIFO invoices. So that's one of the components. The second component is what I call sales in, sales out analysis, or SISO analysis. So this is where this component actually determines the month-end inventory very accurately. Like I said before, the partner may report the inventory maybe 20th of the month. So that's not good enough. You need actually an inventory report for the end of the month. But if you don't have it, this component will actually calculate the inventory for you. And the third component in the CDM package is the partner scorecard. So this component looks at various metrics of the partner, looks at partners' revenue, looks at partners' month-end inventory, looks at the quality of the data, looks at how is the partner submitting the reports on time. So it looks at various factors and comes up with a score of 1 to 10. And so these are the three main components of the CDM system. So the data that's coming out of this can be fed into any of our or any revenue management applications or to the finance management system. So just a little discussion on the sales in sales out reconciliation. So what is sales in? So how do you do the calculations? So you want to calculate the ending channel inventory, right? So you start with the beginning inventory for that month, which is same as the ending inventory for the previous month, right? So you take the beginning inventory for that month, then you add all the shipments from you meaning the company, to the partner. And then you subtract all the returns that the partner has, all the products that the partner returned to the company. Then you subtract all the partner sales to its customers. And then you add all the returns that the partner's customers has returned to the partner. So this is this is how this is calculated, but that it doesn't stop there. You have to refine that number, and you have to take into account the in-transit inventory, because when end of the month some of the products may be still in transit. You need to take that into account for calculating the channel inventory. Also take into account all the uncredited RMAs. So this won't show up as returns yet until it's it's credited. So that's why it says uncredited. And then you have to look at all the what I call the subsequent transactions. So like I said, if the partner reports inventory, let's say on 20th of the month, and you're calculating the inventory for the end of the month, between 20th of the month and end of the month, you have to take all the transactions that happened in those 10 days or 11 days and figure that into your calculations. So in the end, you'll come up with very accurate and reconciled period ending inventory. So this is what the sales in sales out analysis component does. Okay. So what the conceptual pipeline that I showed in the beginning of the presentation, we have expanded that into a little more detail to show what actually happens when the data is getting processed. So your raw sales and inventory comes in. So the first stage of your processing pipeline is uploading this data, either using email or using FTP or EDI or HTTP, whatever the delivery mechanisms are. So that data comes in, it gets uploaded. The second stage is to map and transform that data into a standard data format. And that's the second stage. So once it's in the standard format, then you import that data into the database, and then you do some validation of the data, date formats, currency, and so on and so forth. And then the fourth stage is what we call transaction resolution. So this is where the CDM application actually does matching. It looks at the bill to and the ship to customers in the POS data, tries to match that against the reference data in your system, and then it also does additional enrichment. Okay, so that's the fourth stage. And the fifth stage is the actual valuation of the transaction, either using the price book, or you can use a FIFO of invoices. And the sixth stage is what I call a fuzzy analysis. So this is where by the end of stage 5, you might have a number of point of sales transactions where the system could not determine what the actual bill to and the ship to customer is. The matching rules didn't really resolve them. Could be that it's a new customer, or it's that the rules that's in the system couldn't figure that out. So that's where we'll look at those transactions where we could not do the matching. We'll run a fuzzy analysis of those bill to and ship to information against the customer master. So that would give you the best probability match, and that's where there is a review process you can do to say this the whatever the fuzzy is recommending can be converted that into a real match. So out of this 6 stages comes your revenue quality transactions. This pipeline is fully automated. There's no human intervention required anywhere. The data will just flow through if there are no exceptions, and you have to look into anything at all if there are any exceptions. So it's a fully automated self-serve platform which is managed purely by exceptions. And so out of the box, the channel data management solution provides a set of dashboards which you can configure to your liking, but primarily it takes the revenue quality point of sales and inventory data and comes up with the revenue trends, month over month revenue trends, month over month, the ending inventory, how much inventory is in the channel. It also calculates weeks of inventory, so you can see how fast or slow the inventory is moving through the channel. So that and then you have various dashboard elements to show revenue and inventory by geographical regions. That's by territory and regions. You have dashboard elements for that shows you the top N customers, top 10, top 20 customers, top 10 or top 20 resellers, who your top selling partners are. So there is a whole bunch of dashboard elements that will give you a quick view how your channel partners are performing. And then, of course, like any dashboard, you can drill down by partner, you can drill down by region, geography, by product category, family, etc., and look into more details. Another important part of the dashboard is the partner score. So the system comes up with a partner score between 1 and 10, and you can easily see the grades, the partner scored using various metrics that we have used. For example, some of the metrics are they meet the expected revenue objectives? Did they meet the expected weeks of inventory objectives? How many of the build to and ship to were not matched? What's the quality of the data? Did they report the data on time? So we can configure what factors you want to use to come up with a score. So the dashboard is out of the box, which you can use to configure it the way you want. And the system also provides you a one-stop place to look at your pipeline. So I kind of talked about the 6-stage pipeline, where the data gets uploaded and it goes through map, import, resolution, valuation, and fuzzy match. So at any point in time, you can actually see that data go through, and you can click on any of these stages, and you will see all the details the summary of the details that you want to see, the logs, and you can see that here. It tells you what time that stage started, what time it finished, was it successful? If there are any errors, you'll see it right on the screen, and you'll be able to drill down from there and see all the little details of what went wrong. And here's an example of the pipeline that failed in the mapping stage. So it clearly shows you it's in red, so it's failed, and at the bottom right is the log. It gives you all the information about what the failure was, and you would be able to drill down from here to your map designer in this case and fix the issue, and then you can just rerun the pipeline and it will just go through. So this is an example where you know what the exception is, and you can drill down from that screen into the place where you can resolve it and rerun the pipeline, and the problem is solved. Okay. So if I need to summarize our CDM solution, it's a fully automated pipeline, and it's purely managed by exception. So there's no human beings have to sit and manage the pipeline, unless there are exceptions. and it's a self-serve platform. You don't, this is something that you can manage, but of course we offer a white glove solution as well, but companies can manage the platform themselves if they want to. And you get the channel data in real time. So as data comes in, it gets processed and it's available in whatever systems, whether it's in the CRM system or your ERP system, it'll be available there. And of course, it's using all using all the mechanisms we have put in into the system is going to produce revenue quality channel data for all your downstream applications. And that's pretty much the end of the presentation. And if people have questions, I can answer them at this point. So so I have a couple of questions that people have asked. Let me just go through them. The first question is, what is the best practice for specifying partner data format? That's a very good question. From my perspective, the best practice is not to dictate any specific format for the partner. Because what you want to do is you want the partner to extract the data automatically in any format they have already set up the system for and send that formatted data to you. If you ask the partner to change the format, you're calling for trouble because they're going to change the format week after week, because they are trying to manually or some way they're going to try to change the format to suit your needs. You don't want the partner to do that. Okay. The second question is your CDM a SaaS solution? Yes, it is a SaaS solution, and we also provide a fully managed white glove solution. So if companies don't want to manage this application, we can manage it for them. There is one more question. How long does it take to implement your solution? It again depends. It depends on the complexity of the channel and how many partners. Is it 10 partners, 100, 1,000 partners? From our experience, it's usually takes about 6 to 10 weeks. That's it's a rough estimate based on our experience. That's all the questions we have. Ajay, I'm going to hand this over to you so you can wrap it up.
Right. So with this, we are at the end of our session for today. Thank you, Suresh and Ashish. And thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. For demo, here we have our information, email and phone information. You guys can reach us over these contact information to schedule a demo for our solution. And on behalf of Actete and our presenters, thank you for joining us today and have a nice day.